Hello, hello. Welcome all and welcome in. Please take a seat. You're just in time for the show. Welcome to the first episode of Fear of Boredom, hosted by me, Freddie of Freddie Eats Media. Today is September 19th of 2024 and I think I have a decently sized show for you for this first episode. We're going to start by just a quick intro into myself, a little bit of maybe a little backstory, but more pieces will come along as I just do the show more often. But give a little bit of a description of what my plans for this podcast is and sort of just kind of shoot the shit for a second. Then we will actually break into the actual rundown of the show and I'll explain that more later on. But first off, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. So with this show, it I don't know, it's hard to explain. So if you look back on my channel, you can see that I already have a video posted, that being A Quiet Place Day 1 review. Now, at that time, I thought that my goal with content creation was going to be just making new release film reviews, specifically within the realm of horror, because that's the realm that I love the most. But I found that the biggest issue is that that's not always financially viable for me. There are going to be times where I just don't have the funds to make it out to the theater and see every new release that I'm interested in. So instead, I decided not to keep myself in such a box like that and instead just talk about a wide range of things that I enjoy. I do feel that this podcast will become horror focused, and I'll explain specifically a way that that is going to happen for next month, but that will be saved for the end of the show, so just stick around for that. But I do feel that that will be a realm that I'll fall into, whether it's specifically with film or just horror films. But for this show and for what I do want to plan is that I'm just interested in a different realm of things, as many people are. Most forms of media, hence the name Freddie Eats Media, I find myself enjoying, whether it's film, TV, sports, music, comic books, the whole nine. And with how my brain works, I have ADHD, so there are times where I can find something that I really like, and like a normal person that can just be a thing that I go on to really like for years to come, and it's just a new like character trait or whatever. But sometimes I also become super obsessive over something for like 2 weeks and then it'll just be gone forever. So what I plan for this show is that it will be just kind of news based. We'll start off always with like a rundown of the major like kind of media what's the word I'm looking for? I will have news stories across like different major kind of just media formats, as I explained, like film, TV, comics. And then usually at the end of an episode, I plan to try to have a specific kind of fixation or whatever it may be, just something that I've been really into recently, and then just go more in depth into just different things about that. And then, yeah, and that should be basically how it's going to go. That's how we're going to start off with, just news based, and then kind of have some sort of focus at the end of each episode for an extended period of time. Now, without further ado, I feel like we should just be able to just get into this. We're gonna start out small. There's just one film topic that I wanted to talk about, and that's something that I actually read early this morning as I was prepping for this episode. I read this article. It was from Variety. I don't exactly remember the author of it now, but it was from Variety. You can find it on there, and it was about this Pharrell Williams Lego documentary that he's doing, or like biopic or whatever. And the thing that was interesting about it is that there's tons of people that are slated to be in this film. People like Kendrick Lamar, Gwen Stefani, just a ton of loads of other artists. And Pharrell didn't tell them going into the shooting of this that this was going to be like a Lego thing. And I saw that headline. I thought that's kind of interesting. I wonder like how was the reaction to that, or why did he not feel the need to like explain that aspect of it? And it's a really good read. I recommend anyone to go and read that article. But so I guess the theme of what this documentary is, at least what it sounds like, what they're trying to focus on is the individuality of just different realms of creatives and specifics within their stories that help them get to where they are now. And Pharrell has kind of like a couple anecdotes where he explains that Legos for a ton of different people, like millions of kids, and now just across different generations, have had some sort of, I guess, Legos have just been like a pivotal part in millions of people's lives, and that is for some their first sense of individuality, specifically Pharrell, as he says. And he explains that he didn't want the guests that he had in this film to go into it and kind of sway their answers in any sort of way, knowing the gimmick of it being a Lego film. And I find that very, very interesting because he wanted the answers to be real, but still use this creative outlet to explain it. And after reading it, it made me very, very interested for this film to come out. I don't exactly know when it is set to release. I am going to look that up now. We leave it in the show. The film is Piece by Piece, and it is set to release October 11th in the United States. So definitely going to keep my eye on that for when that comes out. It seems very, very interesting. And that's really all that I had for film. There wasn't a ton of film stories that I found particularly interesting. I really have been kind of out of the film news like outlet for a little bit now, and just been like watching some stuff that I've missed. So a little out of the loop, but again, I hope that this show can like hold me accountable and becoming more in the loop for these things that I enjoy. So that covers it for film. So we're gonna switch gears and go now into the TV realm. I just have two stories during this. First being is the Penguin show comes out in like what, a couple weeks. Let me double check that now. Again, we're leaving it in the show. Penguin show release date. September 19th. Oh my god, it comes out today. Okay. Holy shit. So it drops today at the time of this, like the day of this episode dropping. So that is something I highly anticipated. That is something that I'm very excited to watch. It's on Max. And I watched the trailer for the first time today, and I'm very, very intrigued on the direction that this is going. I love the idea of kind of just a small scale mob drama centered around the Penguin. I think that that's going to be very, very intriguing. I loved Colin Farrell in the role in the Batman, so very excited to see how he does at carrying the whole show as this character. But I don't really have much more to add other than that comes out today. I'm super, super stoked about it. I like in the marketing that it says the next saga or the next chapter in the Batman saga. So, because I do know with James Gunn's whole DCU thing like happening, there was a little questions on whether or not the Batman Part 2 was actually going to happen. I don't know how real those like concerns were, but at least I do know at a small point I was afraid that there may be a chance that we don't get another Matt Reeves Batman. But as it stands, we are continuing the story, and that's something that I am more than looking forward to. The next story is that SNL revealed some season 50 hosts. Now, this comes again out of Variety, and I've never been the biggest SNL fan. I don't know really many people who are anymore. It seems like they'll have one or two, maybe three, like really, really good skits each season that tend to go viral, and I usually just watch them like when they hit YouTube after people talk about them. But for season 50, there's certain guests, certain hosts like Ariana Grande set the host, Michael Keaton, John Mulaney, among others, and musical guests were like Stevie Nicks. But the one that I more than just Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks is going to be with Ariana Grande, I believe. But the one date that I was very, very excited for, that I am going to be set to watch, is November 2nd. It's going to be hosted by John Mulaney, and the musical guest is Chapel Roan. What a day for annoying people. And that's including myself. I fucking love Chapel Roan. So, if you are absolutely insufferable, please watch this episode and just ruin your friends' lives. Do that for me. I love chaos. And now we're gonna get to the probably the biggest chunk of what this episode is gonna be. I feel like I'm just kind of flying through this, but not gonna lie, talking in front of a microphone, talking in front of a camera is something I'm still trying to get used to. Something I'm still trying to find my balance, find my level at. So please forgive me if it just feels like I'm fucking running through these. But also, these first ones are meant to be kind of just quick run throughs, because now we're gonna get into sports, which is gonna take up probably the biggest chunk of today's episode. I'm actually gonna finish off the news category with specifically sports. And to kick us off, we'll start with the NBA. Now, for the NBA, there's only one story that I wanted to talk about, and it's actually like quite huge if you ask me, and that is Woj retiring. Now, if you don't know, Adrian Wojnarowski is ESPN insider. He began at Yahoo Sports. He is, you may have heard the term Woj bomb. That's kind of the things that he's like known for, is being the first to get these like, he, whether it's connections in the industry, however he does his magic, he usually is, it's him and Shams are very quick to tweet out NBA signings, NBA trades, and they're usually the ones breaking the news. So this news of Woj retiring is actually, it's actually quite sad. I mean, not sad in the sense of like there's a reason to be sad, but it's just gonna be different, you know, not having a Woj bomb. like I remember probably the most prevalent time that Woj was in my life. So in the NBA, I'm a Celtics fan, okay? And before you call me a fucking bandwagon, I've been a Celtics fan since I was 12 years old, with Rondo, Pierce, Allen, and Garnett still on the team. So you can lick my... Anyways, in the offseason of, I believe it was what, like 2015, 27, whatever it was, the Gordon Hayward year. I think it was 2017 going into 2018. We just like traded for Kyrie. That I remember when the Gordon Hayward sweepstakes were happening, and I spent like the first several hours of whatever a day that he was set to signing. I believe the teams were Miami, the Celtics, and I guess just going back to the Jazz, right? So just like I woke up, and for like the first 3 hours just refreshing Twitter, just waiting waiting for that news. I don't even know if it was Woj to break it, but that's what I was waiting for, was for a Woj bomb. And whether or not it was him, it's going to be interesting when we have those kind of anticipated moments, or these big stories like this, or just high name players like changing teams, and it's not going to be Woj breaking it. It'll likely be Shams or some other person of some adjacent. But it's just going to be an adjustment, and I find this to be a big change in the NBA landscape, to be quite honest. Now, of course, I am very happy for him. He is going to be with the new NIL stuff in college sports. The GM position for like different college athletics is becoming a more prevalent one, and he is actually taking the GM job at, I'm gonna butcher this, but fuck, I actually forget what it was. Woj Saint Bonaventure. So he's gonna be the GM there for their men's basketball team, and he talks about, really, you should just read the piece on ESPN about it. It's really, really well done. It like really does justice as to like what he means to this community, and I love his words on explaining like how much this has meant to him, and how he's now making this new chapter in his life, because he wants to play a pivotal role in the advancement of college athletics, and specifically college athletes, and I find that super commendable. So all the best of luck to Woj. You will be missed, but I, of course, wish him nothing but success. And next, we're going to get into college football. Man, Archie Manning, right? So he's just like, he's good. Like, it's not, like, he is good. Like, we can scratch that off. We knew he was probably going to be all right. He was a very, very highly recruited quarterback for the namesake alone, and just him playing pretty freaking well. Where was it? He's from Texas, right? Is that where he's like actually from? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not gonna look it up. But through the high school scene, I don't like pay attention to high school football. I barely pay attention to college football, to be honest. I did not know that had fallen, but whatever. But after the 6 touchdown performance, I mean, we can kind of safely say that he's at least like a guy, right? Or can be a guy. And yes, their opponent wasn't really up to their standard, but still, I mean, I find I love seeing him succeed, especially with such a high name that he is. It's good to actually see him live up to those probably unfair expectations that are put upon him. But anyways, he's a freshman. We still got at least a whole another year to watch him, if not two. So, but just another thing that I'm going to be looking out for. I didn't mention that I really have not followed college football that passionately ever. So, to give you a little bit of an idea, I am a UK college like sports fan. That's just what I grew up rooting for. I did not go to UK, but it's still the team that I've had the most allegiance with, I will, but I also live in the greater Cincinnati area. So, with that, I also find myself a little partial to UC just because I don't know, I know. If you're a fan of either of those teams, you probably fucking hate me, right? Because as far as, at least my understanding is that that's supposed to be like a rivalry of some sorts. What the fuck ever, I don't care. But I like the UC aspect because it's something that's just right there. You know what I mean? Like I can go to UC. I could go and watch a game if I wanted to. I haven't, but I could. I have really no like personal allegiance to Lexington or to like just the University of Kentucky in general, other than it's just what I've watched since I was like 12. So, but with that, I'm wanting this year, especially, I want this show to kind of again hold me accountable in that. I've wanted to get into college football for a really long time, and I've started this year. I've watched every Kentucky game, I believe, at least most of every single Kentucky game. And I have watched about maybe like 2 halves of a UC game. I did see them fucking blow the 25-point lead against shit, who was it? Against Pitt. It was against Pitt, right? Saw them blow that. And I did see them. I saw that they were winning against Miami of Ohio, but I didn't like finish the game. But so good win on them. Kentucky just this past week lost to the number 1 team in the world by 1 point. And as painstaking as that was, just being right fucking there. And honestly, this was a rough weekend for football, this past one. But that it was a well coached game. And what I find very interesting, a stat that I read, is that Georgia has been held under 20 points 3 times in the past 5 years. The most recent time, of course, being against Kentucky last Saturday. The time before that was in 2022 against Kentucky. The time before that was in 2020 against Kentucky. Now, I don't know what that says, but I just find that incredibly interesting. And it seems like, at least with this game, it was very, very well coached by Mark Stoops and the Georgia coach. I'm so sorry. I know I should know his name, but I'm new to this, so just please give me some grace. But it seemed like it was a very well coached game from my little understanding of what was happening. Very defensive, a lot of field goals, but I just found that stat incredibly interesting, and you can take that with what it is. Now, here is the part where, so I don't exactly know what I'm going to call it. The working title is Quick Fix, or like recent fix or something like that. Something like fixation, something of like a recent thing that I've been really into. And that's the section that we're getting to now. And it's just going to basically be the NFL as a whole. Now, I've been an NFL fan for a long time. I've watched the Bengals since Andy Dalton, AJ Green's rookie year, and been a diehard fan since then. Now, there are, and with it being today's Thursday Night Football, week 4 starts, or no, I'm sorry, Thursday Night Football for week 3 is today. And, so what we're going to do, I have 5 stories or just topics about the NFL that I want to talk about. Each year around this time, I just get like so fucking into it, like as everyone does. It's right there, like it just started, and like just everything is high. Well, I'm also a Bengals fan, and each year, the first 2 weeks are fucking hell because it just never seems like the Bengals are ever ready to get things started right out the gates. And that holds true for this season. We saw them with that embarrassing loss against the Patriots week 1. I mean, I don't know exactly what was wrong. I mean, yes, the defense looked just rough. Like I remember my takeaway at the end of the Patriots game was I knew about all the pieces that had left, like fucking Reader had left, I believe, or the different missing pieces that we had that were hurt, and I I knew that our defense wasn't going to be what it had been in the last few years. But after that first game, my main takeaway was, oh, so our defense just like fucking sucks, right? Like it's just like bad. It's just like a bad defense. Like we allowed what 170 rush yards from the Patriots, the team that everyone thought was going to be one of the worst offenses going into this season, and they put 170 rushing yards on our heads. So this defense is going to suck, right? Now, the jury is still out on that one, but they did have a huge step up week 2 against the Chiefs. Now, this game is, of course, always highly anticipated by the NFL. At least it is within the Bengals fandom. I'm very curious on what the narrative is outside of the Bengals fandom between this matchup. I can imagine. Now, Bengals fans, bear with me. I can imagine the annoyance of this game coming up, probably specifically for Chiefs fans. We had the whole Mayor Cincinnati bullshit from 2 seasons ago. We had just the Burrowhead shit, which is really funny because he's only won there one time. One time. He's had one away win at Kansas City. And I'm sure there are other quarterbacks who have done that in this league right now, if not more. Well, actually, no, he has beaten Mahomes one-on-one the most, but of any active quarterback, I believe. But in Arrowhead, there's got to be someone. I'm not gonna look into it, but I found that very interesting when. So now, anyways, I'm kind of tangenting, but just I'm very curious on like the what the overall vibe of this game is from a Chiefs fan. Like, do they just fucking hate when this game comes up because there's like this comparison between the two teams, one being fucking back-to-back Super Bowl champs and one making it to the Super Bowl 1 year, kind of on a, still not sure if it was a fluke, one kind of season where they just have a really, really great run and make it to the Super Bowl versus a possible three-peat team this year. Seems like these two teams are always in comparison because they're always like the top 2 teams in the AFC. But so, anyways, from the Bengals' perspective, I was very excited going into this game and very, very nervous. Obviously, based on the performance against the Patriots, I thought that we might get waxed in this game, especially if the defense played like it did in that first game. And it was better, of course. 1 point loss, 25-24. We'll get to fucking Jamar Chase crashing out, like it's fine. We'll get there, but the issues that I had with week 1 are still kind of prevalent after watching week 2. our rush defense is still not good, I don't think, because Pacheco was running all over us. Fucking Mahomes was able to get space and run on us, but that's just Mahomes. And yes, it's the Chiefs, but there were certain elements of the rush defense that I still didn't believe in. Fucking Cam Taylor Britt though had the greatest interception I've ever seen in a live football game. That was absolutely insane. But Burrow, the biggest takeaway for this game is that Burrow looked great. He did not look good in week one. I felt that there was either some pain happening in that wrist still, or perhaps it was just a mental block he was having, I'm sorry. But he looked really, really good in this game. I felt like he was making decisions really fast, making his reads. He didn't throw it downfield a ton. He had the one pass against on Burton that was really, really good. I think that was the kid's first reception, and it was like a 47-yarder, so it's pretty sick. And 2 touchdowns to Yosivash, which love that man. Love Yosivash, the most handsome player in the NFL, if you ask me. And yeah, so I thought he looked great. I thought that Moss looked really well. I really like his installment into the team. Yeah, he's not Joe Mixon, perhaps, but if you ask me, with all the shit that kind of came with Joe Mixon, whether it was like the gun thing or just any whatever it may be, I was kind of tired of Joe Mixon for several seasons now, and that's not me just saying it just to like. I know I'm saying it in hindsight, but even after he was drafted, I was like, oh, okay, that's a Bengals pick, you know, like, but whatever. But I liked Moss. I thought he was very productive. I thought the line looked pretty all right. I think Burrow got sacked a few times, but didn't look terrible. But Chase, man, Jamar fucking Chase. He had what, like 2 receptions, was targeted like 3 times, 4 times maybe. And just so with everything that's been going on in the offseason surrounding Jamar Chase's contract, I have been on his side through it all. Not like literally, but just as a fan, I have defended Jamar Chase's opinions, or more so actions, more than probably my peers around me. And because I want to look at the individual, and I understand his workload, and I understand his production since he's been in the league, and he is up there, top 3, top 5, whatever you want to put it, top 2 maybe. He's up there, you know. And if he feels that he should be paid in a way that reflects that, fully agree with it. Fully agree with it. Whatever it takes for this man to stay on my football team, almost said basketball. Whatever it takes for this man to stay on my football team, do it. I'm here for it, right? But after all like that bullshit, we're still not reaching a contract, and the whole like semi pettiness of being the highest player, being just above Justin Jefferson, which I get it. Like I said, I've defended it. It's cool. I don't care for all that. What I care for is decisions made on the field that directly cost the game. As a Bengals fan, I have lived through a lifetime of those, you know? The first that I can distinctively remember is the year where we played, it was Devontae's perfect hit, the late hit on Antonio Brown, the one that fucking downloaded CTE straight to the source, right? I mean, that's not funny, but whatever. When we I remember, because at that point I had, at that point in my lifetime, there had not been a Bengals playoff victory. We didn't get that until several years later against the Raiders in that Super Bowl run that we went on. But at that point, we had not had a Super Bowl victory. I had watched them lose twice in the first round against the Texans, and I think 2 more times in the first round against whoever the fuck it may have been. But that year, Andy Dalton was like having like the best season of his fucking career, right? And I think it was the second to last game or the third to last game of the regular season. He throws a pick. goes to tackle, breaks his fucking thumb. So we have AJ McCarron leading. I believe it was AJ McCarron, right? That sounds about right. It was AJ McCarron. Lead our team through the end of the season and first round of the playoffs against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he does, like, not great, but, like, passable. We have the lead against the Steelers late in this game. You all know how it ends. Vontaze Burfict comes and just straight, just, fuck. I'll never remember it. Because, like, I was watching that game with my stepdad, right? And I believe, like, just before that, whatever, there was a big play, like, just before that where we thought, okay, this is, like, set. Like, we got this. Like, we did this. Like, it's it. Like, I think we might be able to do this. And I just remember my stepdad going, you gotta be shitting me, like, freaking out. He's not into football that much, right? He'll watch the Bengals and he'll get excited because, like, it's the local team. He gets excited for these games, though. And that was the most excited I'd ever, like, him, it, like, whatever play it was, I can't really recall. But what I do recall is him standing up, looking straight at me, saying, you gotta be shitting me, as he's going in for a hug. And I was like, holy shit, this is it. This is the moment. This is I'm going to watch the Bengals actually do something in the playoffs. And then, you know. And another blunder, just 2 seasons ago, in the AFC Championship against the Chiefs, there was the late hit on Patrick Mahomes out of bounds. I believe it was on Patrick Mahomes. That would make sense. That got them up to field goal range for Butker to hit a game-winning field goal as time expired. Stuff like that. There's fucking this game. There is, I mean, it's much smaller scale. The pass interference call at the end, much smaller scale. It happens. I'm not even super mad at that call. People can bitch that the Chiefs get calls that helps them win games, but, like, it's pretty hard not to call that pass interference. He did come and just straight hit the dude on the back as he was trying to jump up for the ball. So, not mad at that. That shit happens. But prior to us being in that situation, was Chase, who gets a reception, gets tackled down. I believe I'm pretty sure the overall opinion is that he felt that he was given a hip drop, right? So, gets tackled, he just loses his fucking mind after that, goes to the ref, explains why he's upset, the ref acknowledges him, kind of just like, alright, I see it, we're playing on now. And then he just keeps going, and keeps going. Gets the flag, 15 yards, loss of down, you cost us the game, you know? We're up by 2 at that point, we're in Chiefs territory, we get another field goal. We have to force them to make a touchdown. We get another touchdown, 9-point game, 2 scores. If we have a tough defense, we got this. Like, if we just play hard, we got this, you know? It took a lot for them to come back 2 scores at that point. So we could seal the game, or at least make the gap big enough for where Mahomes has to do something, has to get in the end zone, right? But no. He was pissed, and I guess didn't have a good understanding of the situation. Or maybe it was. I'm not gonna. I guess say what was going on in his mind, because I don't know. What I know is the product on the field and the consequences for the actions. And the consequences for Chase was his quarterback bear hugging him, kind of moving him away from the ref, and like once or twice full arm shoving him, getting like pissed at him off of the ref, away from the ref. And he's still doing it. He goes to the sideline and throws his fucking helmet against whatever the hell, and still losing his shit. Now, that is shit that I don't appreciate as a football fan. That is shit that I do not like. I don't care about the money aspect. If you want to get paid, and we have the abilities to get you paid, if it's him or someone else, I'm taking Chase. You know what I mean? Like, if that's how it comes down to, it comes down to moving money around, and it's either Chase or someone else, Chase, right? Unless that someone else is Burrow. But if you are going to make decisions and you are going to lose your cool to the point where it directly costs football games, I don't know. I'm not here for it. I'm not down for it at all, especially as I mentioned, being a Bengals fan, living through stuff like that time and time again. It's just not, it's not for me. Not doing it. But anyway, let's look at the rest of the NFL. This week we have the Bengals playing on Monday Night Football against the Commanders. I believe it's at home, if I recall right. So at least I know I won't be depressed this Sunday. But just after week 2, the Panthers are benching Bryce Young. Now, I have not watched I've probably watched 5 offensive snaps for the Carolina Panthers this season. And none of them impressed me, obviously, but I'm not here to like talk about whether it's deserved for Bryce Young to be benched or whatever the case may be. I really don't care because I feel that the Panthers are just horribly ran. Bryce Young was never set to succeed there. I don't know if any young quarterback is set to succeed there until they get a new GM. Or a new owner as well. And so I'm not, that conversation's been beat to death. What I'm excited for is the return of the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. I might watch the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. If it's on, I'm going to watch it. I want to see how he does. Who they play? Who they play? Panthers week 3. Who do they play? They play the Raiders. So that is a... Holy shit, am I losing my fucking mind? Who's the Raiders quarterback? It was Garoppolo, wasn't it? But isn't he like out? Raiders is another team I have not paid attention to. I know that they just had a good comeback win, and fucking Devontae Adams like put the entire team. Aiden O'Connell. Okay. Oh no, it's Gardner Minshew. Duh. Okay. Yeah, no, that's a fucking game. I'm watching that. If that is on in my area, if Panthers Raiders is on, what time is that game? That game is a 4:05. It's a 4 o'clock game. Holy shit. Yeah, I'm watching that game. I'm gonna watch Gardner Minshew versus Andy Dalton. The Raiders are probably gonna fucking take that one, but very, very excited to see him back. He's like 37, 38 this year. I watched this man lose in the first round of the playoffs for about like 8 years, but Andy Dalton was the first Bengals jersey that I remember wanting. I had Chad Johnson jerseys when I was younger and Ocho Cinco jerseys, which same player, but I had one that said Ocho Cinco, one that said Johnson, or maybe I'm confusing with the ones my dad had. Anyways, whatever. But Andy Dalton was the first jersey that I like wanted because that was my quarterback, and he was my quarterback for most of my life that I watched football. So I have a lot of attachment to him. Very, very excited to see him play. I hope he's just as mid as always, if not better. It'd be really, really cool to see him like lead a Carolina win. I think it's a lost season overall, but I don't know. I don't really care about like personally for Bryce Young. I hope that he can find a better situation for him, but for the Panthers specifically, very excited to see Andy Dalton see what he can do. Next, another quarterback that very excited to be watching is Sam Darnold for the Vikings, man. What is going on over there? Now, I'm going to try to keep this quick because I don't really care like too much. Like, I watched his highlights and he looks good. He's making good decisions. He's being mobile. He looks nice. Made a bad pick on the last game, but it happens. But no, that's just another thing I'm going to be watching is Sam Darnold leading this Minnesota Vikings team. I've become kind of like a soft Vikings supporter since the Secret Base vid that they did, like the John Boyce long series that they did about the Minnesota Vikings. I watched it in full. I found it incredibly fascinating about this team that's just always like right fucking there, but could just never do it. And I felt like I could relate to that a lot being a Bengals fan. So kind of a soft supporter for the Vikings. So it's really, really cool to see them have this very, very unfortunate injury with their presumed starting quarterback in JJ McCartney, but still now see success with Sam Darnold taking the reins. I find that very, very exciting. So definitely going to be watching that. I was wanting to talk a little bit on the Tua situation, but I feel like that's been talked to death. He's on the IR, so he's not going to be playing for several weeks. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to try to even say what this man should do. As a football fan, I don't want to wince every time that he scrambles. I can't even imagine what actual Dolphins fans or Dolphins coaches, Dolphins like ownership, fucking Tua's family feels when he scrambles. So that's all that I'm going to say. Is I don't want to get I don't want to be as scared as I am when he gets hit that something terrible might happen. I can't even imagine what those other people are feeling. So that's all I'm going to say, and we're going to finish off this NFL talk with another quarterback that I'm very, very excited to continue watching, and that is Baker Mayfield with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dude is a dog, and I'm so here for it, dude. Being, as I said, a Bengals fan, and especially during the ups and downs of Baker Mayfield's career in Cleveland, I got to watch him play directly in full, very vividly, at least twice a year for however many years it was. And what's funny is that my perception of Baker Mayfield was always different than those around me because of those games. He just always seemed to ball the fuck out against the Bengals. So in my head, this kid was like top 10 quarterback since he came into the league, right? And then he had the injury. The Browns fuck him over for Deshaun Watson. Absolutely horrible, like insane, the most Browns thing of all time. And honestly, I'm happy for it now because that means I can actually root for Baker Mayfield because I wanted to. I loved his swagger at Oklahoma. I love just his like cockiness. I don't know what it is. It's just that stupid white boy dancing cockiness. I like loved it. It worked for him. It wasn't corny, and it just worked. And now he's balling out in Tampa, and it's a fun team. So being a Bengals fan in the AFC, there are several like NFC teams, like I mentioned the Vikings and also the Buccaneers, that I kind of become like soft fans of. What's really funny is in 2021 that team was the Rams, and then I saw they were both in the Super Bowl. Of course, I wanted the Bengals to win it all, but you know, when you're a Bengals fan, a Reds fan, a Kentucky football / basketball, this doesn't really always pertain to basketball, but when you're a fan of teams that for long periods of time can be very not good, you got to find your other ways to keep you sane. So usually I have like one or two NFC teams that I'm just like, I soft pay attention to usually for like a player or two. And this year it's definitely the Vikings and the Buccaneers. And I'm so glad to see Baker Mayfield just absolutely ball out. Now, we're going to end off this episode by doing just a very, very easy just pick'ems. We're just gonna pick winners for the week 3 of the NFL, and then I will sign off, and we'll go on with our days. I appreciate again you guys sitting here and listening to me just ramble, trying to get my feel for this. I could definitely see that I picked up like a good amount of steam when we started the NFL segment, so that was good to see. But for week 3 of football, tonight is Thursday Night Football. We have Patriots-Jets. I'm just going to like kind of, if I have comments to say, I'll say them. But if I don't, I'm just going to do a quick one. And hopefully will hold me accountable after this. I do think I'm going to try to, I guess, maybe keep score of what I do. Obviously, we're not going to have results from the first 2 years, or first 2 weeks. But whatever, it's my show. I don't care. Thursday Night Football, Patriots-Jets. Give me the Jets. Give me the Jets. Come on now. Aaron Rodgers playing, you know. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Eagles Saints. That will be interesting. I'm actually very interested in that game. I'm very interested in how legit Derek Carr is this season. I don't think very. Just gonna go off there. I think that the Saints have a lot of good weapons and a very, very good core, but it's very interesting to see. You know what? Actually, fuck it. I'm going to go with the Saints this game. I want to see them continue on this tear. So, just as a fan, I'm going to go with the Saints. Broncos, Buccaneers. Get me Bucks. Come on. Bo Nix is not. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really watched them play in depth, but give me Baker over Bo. Let's do Bears, Colts. Anthony Richardson versus Caleb Williams. Give me the Colts. Dolphins, Seahawks. Who's quarterback for the Dolphins? I don't even want to look. I gotta finish this up. My girlfriend's gonna be home soon. Give me Seahawks. 49ers, Rams. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun game. 49ers just lost to Jared Goff. Or not, what the fuck? Hold on. 49ers just lost to Sam Darnold and the Vikings. Sorry, it's getting my shit mixed up. But damn, that would be good. Give me 49ers. I just think there's too many weapons on that team. Give me the 49ers. Ravens, Cowboys. Ravens are 0-2. Cowboys 1-1. Cowboys got blown the fuck out by the Saints. Give me Ravens. I think they have to step up this year. They cannot go 0-3. They cannot go 0-3. So I think they're going to be very, very tough. I think Lamar is going to play out of his fucking mind because it's going to be that thing where they're going to rely on him a lot like they did in week 1 to keep that game close against Kansas City. So give me Ravens. Jaguars, Bills. I don't have the biggest belief in Trevor Lawrence or just the Jaguars team as a whole. So give me Bills. Giants, Browns. This is a 1 o'clock slot. I kind of been bouncing around. Give me the Browns. Think the Browns will win. Texans, Vikings. That will be a fun game too, actually. Give me Texans. Packers, Titans. Give me the Packers. The Titans. I don't know. But the Packers don't have Jordan Love either. But Malik Willis didn't play awful week 2. Give me the Packers. Chargers, Steelers. Give me the Chargers. Panthers, Raiders. Okay. Give me the Raiders. Sorry. I love you, Andy. But give me the Raiders. Lions, Cardinals. That'll be fun. Kyler Murray's having like an actual pretty decent season this year. It seems like, or at least through the first 2 weeks. And Marvin Harrison Jr. had a big breakout game week 2. So that'll be exciting. But give me the Lions. I like to see the Lions win this game. So yeah, give me the Lions. Chiefs, Falcons. Chiefs. Come on now. I love Kirko Chains, but I don't know. I'm just, especially 8:20 game Sunday night football. Kirko Chains against Patrick Mahomes. We'll see. And then the Monday night game, Bengals Commanders. Come on. We need it. We need it. Give me the Bengals. All right. Well, that is gonna pretty much wrap up this episode. Actually, one more thing. The plan that I said for Halloween. So, what I'm gonna be doing, it's gonna start at the end of September. I'm gonna guess, what is it? I guess it would have to be the 29th would be the first day, but from the 29th to October 31st, Halloween, I'm gonna be doing daily uploads of this podcast. And we'll keep the same format, kind of news format in the first half, and then in the latter half, we'll have a specific movie that we're focusing on. Now, the movies that we're doing are going to be 3 franchises of Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween. So, That was the last thing I just wanted to get out there. Hope that if that is something that interests you, you come back and watch those. But um, anyways, that's gonna do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me on this lovely day. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, whatever it is that you have planned. And I hope to see you next week or next episode. But if you can't make it, we'll keep the seat warm for you. Thank you.